你有什么资格讲道理？
场景一，
韧性特别强的民族，做惯了亚洲地区的头号经济强国，那么在GDP 总量上面啊，当然不是人均总量上面被中国超越以后，可能是不是需要一个时期的调试，会有这样的情况吗？
有可能，但是我们的这个自觉可能有所不一样。因为我们都知道中国是大国，人口是我们的10倍，面积是27倍，那么大的国家，顺利的发展下去的话，那有一天肯定中国的经济规模是超过我们的，这是我们很容易预测到的。但是那个速度这么快，这是一个吃惊的事，不仅仅是日本人吃惊的，全世界都吓了一跳了，哇！可是这个规模超过我们的，不是大事情，对我们来讲，但是还是速度的问题。
那就是需要调试的是接受这个速度，而不是这个现实。
现在我们还没有跟不上，中国的那个发展速度太快了哈，所以很多中国的变化，我们一般。
场景二
changed over the years dramatically is my perception and my use of public transportation and private transportation. So let's talk about that. While I was living in the USA, I had exactly one form of transportation, and that was my car. I used my car to go absolutely everywhere, no matter what the distance was. If it was a mile or a half mile, I would just always take my car because I thought, walking, taking a bus, that's not cool. Like, taking a bus isn't cool. But in China, the thing that you will notice is that public transportation is so well developed, even in like smaller cities or even in towns. You can get buses for 1 to 2 yuan. You can get these shared bikes for like 1 or 2 yuan per hour. You can, take Didi, which is sort of like Uber. You can walk. China is an immensely walkable country. And when I look at the pragmatics of living here and look
场景三，
好，对外国人来说也提供了很多发财的机会，因此呢，就掀起了前往中国留学工作的潮流。那么这些人到了中国之后，一般体会了所谓的老外生活，就会爱上这个国家，不想离开。中国人对老外一般是比较友好热情，老外在生活上有困难的话，很容易找到中国人帮忙。而且还有个事情，就是有一些中国人是很喜欢外国人的长相，可能就是因为审美观也稍微不一样。我来自欧洲，我们这个大洲在高科技领域已经跟不上节奏了，因此我们欧洲人第一次到中国就会非常欣赏中国的高科技，从网购到手机支付到共享车等等，这些事情都会让生活方便很多。体验了之后再回到欧洲原来的那个状态就很难了。第4个原因就
场景四，
你好吗？谁是你 ？Chinese. It's too late. It's too late to learn Chinese. It's over. No, it's true. It's true because it's also one of the hardest languages in the world. I mean, how do you learn Chinese now? Just they've got over 10,000 characters in the alphabet. You know this? 10,000 characters. We've got 26 in English, and there's still people going, "What comes after Q?" 26. This is 10,000 they've got. That's super smart. Although they must have the worst Sesame Street in the world. It must suck being a Muppet in that country. I can just see them on a Monday morning singing to the kids. 细胞从早起熟悉，从房间从早起。5 years later, 从早。
场景五。
Wait a minute. What on earth is that? That is like, just look at those 3 towers here. Where are we going over there? Well, that's like, a big loop, look. It's like City of the Future, isn't it? It seriously is. Oh, man. Funny. We're just looping around and round because we're coming obviously down a mountain. Look, see? Look how all the roads coming all down the mountain. The infrastructure, like the time and the money and just the project They just wouldn't
do that.
They just wouldn't do it like this in the West, would they?
No. They wouldn't build here.
They wouldn't. They go, oh, it's too difficult there. There's too many mountains. We won't bother.
Nothing. No infrastructure project phases China.
It doesn't. You just look at some of the stuff they do.
场景6
Hearing these complaints about our transport structure. Isabel Oakeshott.
Well, totally not. I mean, as a hard-pressed commuter who suffers daily on substandard train services, that absolutely can't be right. And I was looking into this earlier and just wondering, for the sake of argument, how the Chinese do these things. And I noticed that they were able to build a whole new station in the space of 9 hours by flooding it with thousands of workers. We should be much more imaginative about getting infrastructure in quickly instead of condemning people to being isolated in remote areas.
Well, and I shared a taxi coming here, and the commentary I can tell you in the taxi was that the roads look better than the area where we were living in England.
场景7
know more about the Chinese system and Chinese culture than the Chinese know about America. Slim to none, right? China's last 70, 75 years have literally been designed. I think I heard you say this. It has been designed around the way to American, and they built their society in a way to defend itself against that constant imposition, right, of Western imperialism. And in the midst of all of that, they have still been able to eke out.
场景8
Negotiate really hard. Communal. They eat together, they spend a lot of time together, they buy houses together and all live in one big house.
We have a good style, good food. Your language is very difficult.
Maybe difficult for them to integrate. They tend to be a lot with each other. It's very common to see them
only hang out
together.
Chinese
More than other cultures.
Yes. But what about other foreign communities?
So we do it like when I lived in London, I also had Italian friends. So that's normal. But I also had a lot of friends that were not Italian, and I see this less in Chinese.
People don't know much about China.
Yeah.
They have like all the countries in Asia are the same. About the food and the behavior.
They think like that's small, that's all the same people. They think it's just one big culture. It's just lots of people, and that's all. For example, I have my sister right now in Hong Kong, and I'm here the weekend, and they think we can meet each other. I was like, no way, like that's way too far. Just check a map. They're like, oh really? They don't know, so that's big fun.
Really smart and hard workers. Serious. They follow trends. They're always like different from all of the rest with their style.
So what's the image of China before you came to China? They produce everything. They have everything you produce.
场景9
真的很澎湃，很激动。一个中国人觉得非常骄傲。国歌对每一个人吧，对自己国家是一种尊重。
在电视看到人家升起国旗，然后好像运动员哇，很骄傲，今天好像得奖一样，很开心啊。而且我觉得每一个中国人唱自己的中国的国歌是天经地义的事情，非常开心。当然希望用我们的影响力对他们有一种推动。就我们希望可能做到。
我记得每一次我在天安门看阅兵的时候，看一些老兵挂着一些勋章。我们今天的繁荣太平，就是因为有他们。他每一次经过的时候，国歌是必须要的。现在今天我看见这么多年轻人一起唱的时候，可以说是一種愛國的一種心情。
所以從細咧就應該教育，等啲小朋友啊，因為知道國家嘅對佢哋重要性。
係。今日咁多人參加，你都可以見到係一種心向祖國。
場景10
Excuse me, would it be possible to answer in English? Is that possible?
No, sorry.
那你拿中文问我问题就完了。
How about you raise your question in Chinese?
说我们确定了目标，要确定相配套的政策、措施、行动、投资，要有时间表、路线图。说了我们就得做到。这才是真正的体现力度，而不是光有目标没有行动没有政策，那算什么力度？中国在这个发展阶段当中，确实是排放比较多。为什么呢？因为这是历史的原因，也就有一个库斯涅斯曲线，说这各国在发展的时候，肯定它会这个随着发展它增加排放，但是中国的排放呢，已经把这个峰值大大的降低了。我们既要压低这个峰值，要缩短这个时间，这就是中国为应对气候变化，中国做出来的努力。中美共同努力，促成了巴黎协定的达成，这个签署生效。 最后特朗普总统呢宣布退出了巴黎协定，这个来之不易，不能够轻言放弃。结果美国放弃了，整整耽误了整个气候变化的多边进程，耽误了5年。
场景11，
然后放了很多个体，然后就变成了一个橙子鸡，一个北京烤肉，然后一个是回锅肉。什么？J'ai mangé mes courgettes.
Aux USA, t'achètes une boisson, tu peux la remplir autant de fois que tu veux.
要是铁蛋在美国生活1年，他可能会多40斤。Would be fun. 你想一下，铁蛋多40斤，
一个大的鸡蛋。我们不停地在说啊，多好吃。
但是如果我要真心的说实话，不好吃就是不好吃。我不是说你不能吃，要是你在医院的话，你会觉得这个是美味非常好的一个餐。但是呢，真的不是中餐。你说这个是什么什么什么，放很多糖的鸡，我还是觉得哇 ，OK，that's the sugar。
场景12。
Rispetto ad altre città cinesi che ho visitato in precedenza durante la notte come Chongqing, Chengdu, Hangzhou eccetera eccetera, mi sembra che qui ci siano molte meno persone per strada, però al momento non mi sembra poco sicura. In molti qui in Cina dicono che le città qui al nord non sono molto pulite come le città al sud cinesi, però io non ho notato questa cosa. Comunque una città molto pulita, guardate alle mie spalle, ovviamente ci sono punti in cui lo è un po' meno, c'è un po' di sporcizia per terra come qui vedete, però questa è un po' una cosa normale, capita anche in molte altre città in tutto il mondo, Londra, New York eccetera eccetera. Una cosa invece che ho notato che mi sembra molto simile alle nostre città in Europa è che qui ci sono per strada moltissimi gruppi di ragazzi che passeggiano, bevono, mangiano insieme, una situazione che ho visto poche volte in altri.
场景13。
Get two answers. Either people are surprised, people are like, why? Why did you choose to go to China? Or people are impressed, which is a little better. And even though it's kind of nice for people to be impressed, meaning that they think you've done something well, or meaning that they think you're kind of cool. But the truth is that China is really not that scary, and it's probably much better than you think it is. Most of the time when we hear something about China in the Western media, it's about the crazy economic development, it's about the crowded factories, it's about the lack of democracy, about what else? Weird food. And I think Western media, not all of them obviously, I'm not like hating on all Western media, but many of them have a tendency to portray China in a certain way. And it's not even because it's not true. Yeah, China is crowded, there are a lot of factories and they can eat weird food. But the thing is, it's so much more than that, and it's
场景14。
China's road network. In 1988, China had no motorways at all. And now, 30 years later, it has 84,000 miles of them. That's more than any other country in the world. And they're only just getting...
场景15。
Contrast, the United States is a descending power. That is, the footprint of the United States is smaller in the world economy with each passing year. Over the last 30 years, the Chinese system has grown much faster economically than the United States. 2 to 3 times faster. That's why the Chinese are now the only rival to the United States and the European Union. But that's not all. They've been better able to mobilize society to solve key social problems. They committed themselves 20 years ago to develop their infrastructure. They have been so successful, they build in advance of the demand. Extraordinary achievement. We don't have that. They committed themselves to become less dependent on world trade and more focused on their own domestic economy. And they've made enormous...
场景16
of living in fear. Petty crime,
serious crime, indiscriminate crime, was a problem in my country. And I heard other YouTubers talk about, China is the safest place in the world that I was telling you about. The sense of safety comes from that freedom of fear. Everybody talks about the different examples. You can walk around in the middle of the night, man or woman, and feel safe. I can leave my car unlocked and not worry, my God, what's going to happen if I park here? In my country, for example, if you park by the roadside.
Preview.